ROCK Ministries International was founded in 1996 as a nonprofit organization in Lake Elsinore, California, by a single mother whose 2 boys had grown up and started families of their own. Elaine Yee, Kion's mom, became a children's pastor after raising her boys and began reaching underprivileged and at-risk children with the love of Jesus and helping to integrate families into local church communities. After several years of ministry without much financial support, she was a week away from being evicted from her trailer and hadn't breathed a word about the situation to anyone. While sitting in the middle of a weekly prayer session for the city of Lake Elsinore, a woman she barely knew stopped in the middle of prayer and looked at Elaine and said, "The Lord is asking me to take you into our home." It was only then that Elaine let Joyce Smith know what an answer to prayer this was, and God had big plans for this lifelong friendship. Joyce would travel around the world with World Vision, praying for leaders in their countries. Elaine joined her on one of these trips, which took them to East Africa, and her heart was deeply impacted by the children she saw living in poverty on the streets. After much prayer and fasting, Elaine felt compelled to move the ministry Reaching Our City's Kids from California to Kenya in 2002, and then changed the acronym to Reaching Our Children in Kenya. She opened a children's home for orphans who were surviving on the streets of Kisumu, a large city located on the banks of Lake Victoria. Initially, Elaine met with the children twice a week, having a time of sharing Bible stories with them, feeding them and exchanging their dirty clothes with clean clothes, washing what she had been given, and exchanging the clothes back the following week. She also began having the children help sweep the streets of the city, beginning to teach them about responsibility and respect. Some of these children she was able to take into ROCK's 5-bedroom home there in Kisumu until she maxed out at about 35 children. 3 specific stories that we remember from this season are about Gideon, Samuel, and Elijah. Gideon was just a 3-month-old baby lying abandoned in a mud hut. He was found by the villagers, and Elaine was notified, took him in, and named him after God's mighty warrior. Samuel was found under a tree as a baby, washed in clean clothes with a piece of bread in his hand. Both of these boys were raised under the loving care of Elaine and the staff at ROCK Ministries. They are now both in Form 3, juniors in high school, and 19 years old. Lastly, Elijah was one of the street boys that Elaine met with twice a week. One day she was informed that he had been bitten by a snake and was in the hospital with no one to care for him. She began visiting him and caring for his needs. When he was well enough to leave, he came home with Elaine and joined the ROCK family. When children have lived on the street for a while, it is often difficult for them to adapt to a family-like environment. Elaine suffered the heartbreak of children running away or making trouble. It was not easy, but the Lord sustained her and pointed the way forward. She began looking for land outside of the city of Kisumu and found a 10-acre plot in Malava near Kakamega, and the children's home moved out of the big city in 2008 into the beautiful countryside where it has remained to this day. Our family was able to visit in 2005, just after the plot had been purchased. We took a picture of Marshall, our son, who was 1 at the time, sitting in the middle of a grassy field surrounded by nothing but rolling hills. We had no idea at this time what the future would hold for the ministry. Elaine's hope was to eventually house 200 orphans in small homes on the property that would each have a dorm parent. She ended up only building 3 of these houses, as God had other plans. Over the years, our family sponsored children, sent monthly donations, helped mail out newsletters, hosted dessert nights whenever Elaine visited to give her an opportunity to share about the ministry, and corresponded with her and the children. The last time she came to the USA in 2019, we noticed that she seemed easily confused. We thought the trip must have been exhausting for her at her age and believed that she was just very tired. Others she visited noticed as well. However, when her time in the USA was over, she flew back to Kenya and resumed life as normal at Malava. Kion's Aunt Linda alerted us that she was wondering if Elaine was at the beginning stages of dementia. We had no idea what to do with that information at the time, nor did we have any idea how this was about to impact our future. We received a call in 2020 from ROCK Ministry International's bookkeeper, alerting us to the fact that funds were decreasing and that things were not going well with Elaine. It was soon after this that the diagnosis of dementia was made and our concerns confirmed. And we came face to face with a big decision around the same time we had just taken in Mason, a 2.5-year-old rambunctious boy, through a ministry called Safe Families. What do we do with ROCK Ministries? We loved supporting the ministry, but this had never felt like our calling. Do we shut the ministry down and find places for the children still in ROCK's care? We dug through 12 years of old emails to find out who Mom had chosen to be on her board and contacted these people, gathering them together over Zoom to discuss the future of the ministry. After much discussion, it became clear that God had given this vision to Elaine many years ago and that he was not done with it. We grudgingly began our adventure in faith of helping to raise funds, establish the board, update documents, find a 501c3 to be our covering, create a website, and share the story of this orphanage and school located near the western border of Kenya. Kian and I were able to travel to visit the ministry in September of 2022. Our main concern during that trip was Mom and her care. We had talked about bringing her back with us to Alaska, but after witnessing her around-the-clock care by 2 of the female staff members and hearing from the staff and from Elaine herself, the decision was made to leave her in Kenya to live out her days surrounded by the ROCK family she had grown to love as her own. Elaine had passed on the directorship in 2020, soon after being diagnosed with dementia, to her dear friend and bookkeeper of 15 years, Teresa Boyani, who was carrying the vision of ROCK Ministries International into the future. We were able to empower Teresa during this visit as the new director of the ministry. On June 11, 2023, Elaine went to be with Jesus. Kian returned to Malava for the funeral, which became a beautiful testimony to the community that ROCK Ministries International was far more than Elaine's ministry, but that God had prepared it to carry on well into the future. Over 65 children have been lovingly cared for by Elaine and the staff of the ministry over the years, and many came to the funeral to pay honor to this lady that had given her last 20 years of her life to raising and loving them. All the children still living in the home wore a shirt with a verse from 2 Timothy 4:7. You've fought a good fight. You've finished the race. You've kept the faith. And now we were all called to carry this ministry forward in obedience to our Heavenly Father. There are 2 facets of ROCK Ministries International, which both share the same location in Malava, Kenya: the children's home and Malava Christian Academy. Currently, there are 16 children under the care of the ministry at the home, with ages ranging from 6 years old to 21. The children's home maintains a family atmosphere and meets all the needs of the children, including emotional, spiritual, social, educational, and physical, all the way through young adulthood. In addition to the 16 children, several young adults receive assistance with trade school or university as they continue to receive encouragement and emotional support, even as they are being launched into independence. However, there are big changes coming. Regulations in Kenya are changing in regards to children's homes, and Kenya is looking into adopting a foster care system. ROCK Ministries International will continue raising the 16 children currently in our care, but will also look for how God would have us serving children and families in the future. One possibility is to become a child rescue center, a home for children to be placed immediately while a foster home match is being made. In 2018, Malava Christian Academy began on the campus property as a preschool with 3 levels. Grades 1 through 3 were soon added, and now in 2024, grade 4 was added as well, with the current registration being 118 students. The end goal will be to offer education from preschool through Form 4, 12th grade, by continuing to add 1 grade each year. All of the staff for both the children's home and school are Kenyan, and many of them have been hired from the local community. All of them have a passion for education and a desire to see these children succeed in life. Malava Christian Academy was recently fully accredited by the Department of Education, having just met the minimum standards necessary, as we do not yet have a designated school building. The vision for ROCK Ministries International: to become a source of hope, healing, and restoration for families through the knowledge of Christ's deep love and the empowerment of education, will remain the same. The ministry is funded by donations from loving individuals, primarily friends and family, and a few churches that Elaine had established relationships with over the years. Recurring monthly donations meet about 50% of the $8,500 monthly budget, which includes salaries for 20 staff members. The other 50% God provides through surprise gifts and our family's own personal donations. We are inviting people to partner with us in order to raise that monthly percentage. We are also inviting people to donate to specific projects along the way. 2 immediate projects are the purchase of 2 cows in the amount of $650 each to be our first step towards subsidizing donations from the West, and an actual school building in the amount of $100,000. In the future, more animal projects, chickens and pigs, will be introduced to help subsidize donations and tuition, as well as to be a part of a family strengthening program teaching trades to parents. Farming will be included in this program, and eventually a bakery. We were able to add another 1.5 acres of land to the 10 originally purchased when we came to visit in 2022. So the land has sufficient space to one day have a clinic as well, if God does not return before this time. Over these last 4 years, Kian and I have struggled with frustration, resentment, and even anger, as we have felt as if in the flesh this responsibility was thrust upon us and beyond our capabilities. But as we have fixed our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, he has slowly helped us shift our paradigm to see this as a privilege and something close to his heart, as found in James 1:27. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress. If you would like to come along on this faith-building adventure, there are a number of different ways to join us. Number 1, text us your email address to 907-521-9601 so that we can add you to our newsletter list that we send out once a month via MailChimp. This goes directly to your inbox. You will have the ability to unsubscribe at any time. Number 2, take a postcard home. This has 2 QR codes on it, one to the website through which you can give and, if you choose, set up a recurring donation. The second QR code takes you directly to the School Building Fund donation button. Number 3, pray. We are becoming increasingly aware of our total dependency on God and that his power is made perfect in weakness. Prayer is where our battles will be fought and won. Number 4, volunteer your creative skills with editing photos and videos, creating posts, updating the website. Number 5, join us in planning and executing a youth young adult conference in conjunction with a vacation Bible school for the children. Date to be determined. Mom's heart was passionate about Jesus and deeply impacted by his words found in Matthew 5:34-40. This became her vision statement. Then the King will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" The King will reply, "I tell you the truth, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me."
Give me a word and give me a sign. Show me where to look and tell me what will I find? What will I find?